Right now, the determination of this game, if Denial don't take it, they're done.
Yeah.
If Denial lose this game, they're done, which then will allow Genesis to take a breath of fresh air and realize they have secured top 6. So this is a huge game for more than just one team.
Oh yes, and Atelier, if they can take the win here, not only will they confirm their place for regionals, but they can put pressure onto whichever team ends up losing that match later on between NRG and G2. That'll be on later on today. As Sad Jr. is going to clear that one straight over, looking to alleviate pressure early on and get Denial early onto the board without too much difficulty. But here comes Atelier. Can't really do much with this. They can't afford to give Denial too much space. Those passing plays towards the end of the last series looking so good. But Turtle, nice pass straight to Sizz. Sad Jr. using that wall, catapulting himself into the ball. But they are still stuck in their final half. They need to get rid of this. Denial can't afford to have a bad start here.
Right now, neither team showing full force, but here it is. A dunk will secure the first open goal. Matt taking that directly over a Denial player. This is just that small mistake. Who was back? Leathermere was all the way up in Atelier's corner. He was nowhere near back. That contest was not well placed.
Yeah, no rotation onto that one. Sad Jr. was completely under the ball as well, so there was legitimately no contest onto that ball. Easily won out. And that is an early lead going over to Atelier as Turtle gets that clearance across. Denial want to respond to this one as quickly as possible with Matt getting the clearance and taking that one away to the other side. Atelier have got one of the best offenses in the league, as you'll look for that duo of Matt and Turtle to come out. But for the time being, Denial, they can have an opportunity here. That pass was straight over, but Matt, early jump from him, able to get his car right in the way. But Denial having extended periods of time now on this offense. Can they do anything with it? They need to get passing plays going. Leathermere by himself gets that flick up. Corrupted G's going to try and get there, but awful contact onto the ball. And the opportunity is going to go awry.
Even with the defender there, that shot really should have been on target. It should have been a threat. Would have forced the defender again to cross the net from left to right and then given Denial yet another opportunity.
But still, Denial in this half have been consistently on the offense ever since conceding. But can they do anything with it? Shot is onto target. Turtle scrambles his way over to the net and gets that clearance. Sad Jr. looking for a second touch onto that, but Matt can get that. It's going to go off the crossbar, followed up there by Turtle. And there is that duo we were speaking of earlier on. If they can work together well, Denial is going to be in big trouble.
Denial doesn't seem to be seeking each other out as much as we've seen in the past, but right now, Sad Jr. has a dribbling opportunity. He does find Leathermere, but just beaten out by a defender from Atelier. Oh, there it is, dropped down by Corrupted G. Finally, they were able to keep this aggression on enough, keep up the touches, and force Atelier into bad defensive spots.
And that shot from Corrupted was actually more difficult than the one he missed earlier on. So coming back, making sure that he isn't going to get blamed for that later on. And he has evened up this matchup for his team, but Matt can take this early. Looking to try and get a double touch, but Sad Jr. once again playing a lot more of a defensive role this week than we are used to from him. And to be honest, it's hard to deny it, but Sizz, he is also hard to deny with that shot.
Sizz coming in probably when you wouldn't expect anyone to be contesting that, but Leathermere, that touch was a little bit ugly.
Yes.
He knew he probably needed to get that. I think he was in the panic mode. He thought someone was going to come and take that first shot. In reality, nobody was there. He probably should have allowed his teammate in net to come out for that instead.
So Denial find themselves behind yet again. Half of this game left to play. And a demo onto Sizz is going to mean this rotation is slightly slower. But Matt, that's going to be a nice little dunk goal there. And Denial are being caught on their back foot far too often.
I mean, this is exactly why sometimes you just want to contest. At best, it goes in net, and at worst, you slow down their momentum. You don't allow them to gain ground. You don't want to let them push out of their half, because then you keep them on defense and you can keep starving them a boost.
So Denial really need to pick this up here. They're being caught far too slow. Once again, challenged onto that Sizz with the follow-up. 4-1 in our opening game here. Denial just unable to keep up.
This is getting a bit messy. Corrupted G missing that contest, and then Sad Jr. so late up for this. Sizz, the read he had to make was actually really difficult, and he had to wait because he didn't want to pre-jump that. He didn't know if it was going to hit that death corner. When it hits up above the net, you don't know if it'll drop straight down. So he waited, and he still beat Sad Jr. to the punch.
Ball played away by Corrupted G. Denial need a response, and they need it right now. That could be it, a miss from the corner. But the ball refuses to trickle in. And now Matt and the rest of Atelier can look for their 5th in this matchup. Gonna be played over into a danger area. Sad Jr. gets his second touch, but Turtle with one extra. And Sizz plays it out, and you can see here, Atelier, they have settled into a regular rotation. They know they don't need to overdo it. Oh. And I think they're going for something a bit fancy there. Yeah, you haven't won yet, boys.
That would have been a bit too dirty. I don't think the Nile can allow that. But right now, no one following it up, just giving possession right back to Atelier. And we even see back passes from them as well, just showing full control of the pitch.
So Denial running out of time on this one. They've made decent comebacks before. Even in the previous match, we saw them in with a ridiculous comeback. But can they do it here? And lovely passing play coming out. Corrupted G's got Lefamir and Sad Jr. to aim for. Both of them over into the corner for that. And that's going to require Corrupted G to get himself all the way back. And that play, once again, breaking down for Denial. Now the 1v1 play. They've had a bit of success with this so far. Sad Jr. tries to play it past Matt. That is going to be a comfortable save. Matt not panicking in that scenario, makes his car as big as possible by turning it sideways.
I mean, that was a 2v1. Matt should have lost that. In all statistics, he should have lost that. There's no way he can read both, but Sad Jr. took a bit too long to make his decision. Oh, but here we go. Followed up. They have 49 seconds left. They're still 2 down. A hard clear from Leathermere. And again, going unanswered. Sizz hitting that just a bit too far up. Oh, no. Oh, what?
Okay. Well,
Leathermere got the touch from the angle I saw, but Matt decided to just slam it right in.
I think at that point you're just like, oh, okay, it's going in no matter what. We might as well just turn it in. But it has handed Denial a lifeline. And they will try and scramble and claw their way into this matchup. Leathermere, he's got Sad Jr. to aim at in the middle. He's managed to find him. Shot. Saved there by Matt. That's going to be going up yet again. Turtle has to try and get there first, but Leathermere with the win. Is anyone around from Denial to pressure this ball? Yes, there is. Sad Jr. gets that to the side. 24 seconds remaining here, though. And Denial are certainly running out of time in this matchup. Turtle puts that one off the side. Touch needed there. Now Leathermere, he can try and take this to the other end. 13 seconds now. And you can see here from Atelier, they just want to get constant touches onto this. Keep moving the ball away from any Denial player. And this has been the dream start for Atelier. Yes, they could have won it by a little bit more, but at no point in this matchup did they really look like they were under pressure. Game 1, Atelier.
If Denial didn't feel, if they didn't feel enough pressure in match 1, they're going to feel it all right now. If Denial does not take this series, they will be done. They will be in our 7th seed, and they'll be out.
Yes.
They will not qualify for playoffs, which then will let Genesis calm down a bit and know that they are in a good situation. Now, Denial, right now, they were down 4-1. They were able to get a goal up. It looked a little ugly, to be honest. Matt was the one to get the final touch. Leathermere got a hard clear, and a bad contest from Sizz, so it seemed more a mistake on Atelier than an outplay from Denial. What do you think they have to do here, Shogun?
Honestly, right now, we saw the passing plays coming out from Denial in games 3 and 4 of the last series. We need to see more of those cutting plays, using the corners and bringing it straight towards the middle of the field. Those looked and worked so well against Genesis, yet we saw none of them during this game whatsoever. They're getting shots on target, but how many of them are actually that scary? How many of them are just like Atelier looking at them and just going, okay, we'll get rid of that. Not really any issue there. So Denial, they've got skills on this team. They've got the ability to go for the team plays, but there's too many individual plays coming out now, too many individual dribbles.
I mean, they had a 2v1. Sad Jr. and I think it was Leathermere was with him against Matt, who was faced sideways in net. They had the 2v1. Either fake it, drop it to his left to force him to go backwards. Matt put himself in a spot where he really either had to contest or had to read, but if there was any other kind of mistake or if they were able to pass it back and forth, whatever it was, but again, they're relying too much on their individual skill as opposed to their team skills.
Yeah, and it really is a case of, I believe that was because they had some success with it earlier in terms of they had one-on-one plays, they managed to flick the ball up, hit it off the crossbar, and maybe have a potential follow-up. That was the one that Corrupted ended up missing. So it was a case of maybe they saw that and just went, yeah, this Atelier team isn't very good at dealing with dribbles. But you can't afford to just rely on that. That is a case-by-case scenario. And in that case, you had 2v1. You should use that extra person. It's fairly simple, pass that one across. However, Denial, we have seen how resilient they are in the past. We saw them almost make that reverse sweep in their previous series. Now we need to see them dig in deep once again and keep their playoff and regional chances alive by getting some wins over Atelier. There's going to be some passing plays to start this one off here. Sad Jr. tries to take that one early. As Leathermere plays into corner, none of these are going to be all that dangerous for Atelier to deal with. Sizz, long clearance away from him. I want to see some more close down floor plays coming out from Denial. That's actually a pass straight out to Turtle, and that is an awful touch there. Denial needed to avoid this.
Sad Jr. and Leathermere, I appreciate their effort trying to pass it towards each other, but that bounce could not have gone worse for Leathermere. He was too close to the wall. He ended up being second to contest that, and it was just an easy shot for Turtle to come in for that. You probably want to try and anticipate that. Unfortunate for them.
Yeah, just could not anticipate the angle off the wall, and that is going to be a sucker punch to Denial and their chances and their hopes of getting into regionals, which will be in 2 weeks' time. Sizz looking for a way pass, but 2 Denial players stand in his way. Leathermere with a block. Corrupted G actually ends up missing that, but he's in position now for a passing play. Tries to get that flick up. Leathermere ends up just leaving, going for boost. Probably a smart idea after Atelier were able to clear it. Leathermere with the ball onto his hood. What can he do with this? Nice flick on from him. He's going to try and follow it, but couldn't get the dunk onto it at all. Sad Jr. No contact. Turtle's got Matt to look for. Tried to go the entire way. He knew Corrupted was looking at Matt in that scenario and wanted to go for a dribble the entire way into the net. Passing play. 1-2. Leathermere gets that one down. Extra touch there from Sizz. Going to ruin that though. And Corrupted G cannot follow up. Pace is slowing down in this matchup. And that certainly suits Atelier as they can look for mistakes from Denial, which have been forthcoming.
Here we go, Sad Jr. with an opportunity. Turtle up way too early for that. This could spell danger, and it will. Corrupted G off the side, up to Leathermere as well.
This is just basic gameplay here, using the speed of the ball, forcing Matt to come out, beating him to the ball, and just using the side of the wall. That was 3v1 there, Carpet. And poor player there in the defense, not a chance.
I don't know why Turtle was up so early for that. An aerial that was nearly impossible to read. It could have been an air dribble even. Taking himself out of the play, leaving it into a 3v1.
Matt misses that ball, and Denial found themselves back into this. Denial trying to put this Corrupted G off the sidewall. Turtle forced to get contact onto it. As Matt with the clearance tries to follow up. These long clearances are going to come in more and more frequently, looking to try and displace players and wait for a mistake to come out from either end. Sizz up high, plays that one over to the corner. Can they find some open space here? Leathermere should easily get onto this, but they're making this one more and more difficult for themselves. Turtle, you saw barreling in, saw the mistake. Now Sad Jr. ball onto his hood. He's had limited success with this so far, and he's made this so difficult. A demo from Corrupted G onto Matt does not end up mattering. As that ball gets played over to the side, Denial. They've done well with sustained offense so far this game, but struggling to make any use of it so far in this last minute or so.
They don't want to dedicate too hard for the offensive play. They're trying to hope that they can pull a Denial defender out, make a mistake, find the hole, as opposed to forcing one there. And here we might see an opportunity. Sizz to the crossbar.
And Denial need to get rid of this one right now. We've seen the damage that Atelier can do once they are allowed to pick up boost and start squeezing an opponent's offense. As Matt plays that one out far. He's got Sizz to look for, but Sizz ends up leaving it. Minute and 40 seconds remain in this matchup. We are still tied up between Atelier and Denial as Turtle gets that one down. And there's a block there from Leathermere. Counter-attacking opportunity for Denial. Can they put this one up? That's going to be a bad bounce there for Leathermere, but he's still got Sad Jr. to look for. Sad Jr. moves forward, save there, and pushed over into the corner. Atelier hang on. But Corrupted G still looking for it. They are probably running out of boost now. So how long can Denial keep this offense going? Turtle plays that over to the corner, and Sizz just gets the clearance, but still Denial. Rotations, whenever you get this into permanent offense, is so good, constantly pressuring, and they have put themselves in the lead.
We saw this in the last 40 seconds of the game just prior to this. Their rotations getting so much tighter. Look at how fast they're contesting the ball. Earlier in this game, they were losing every single contest nearly to Atelier, and right there in the last 30 seconds, they just had a non-stop drive onto Atelier's goal.
Turtle's got that one straight from the dribble. Can he get it from the kickoff? No, he cannot. Corrupted G covering enough angle there. We'll say it again. This series is must win for Denial if they even want a hope of getting through to the regionals. That's a bad play there, and Corrupted G, he's made it free, and Denial looking pretty in this matchup.
Denial does not want this to be their final match of the RLCS. They want to stay in, see how the rest of the day unfolds. Now up by 2 with only 46 seconds left. Atelier may be looking at a tied series.
Very much could do, as Denial need to work this one in more of a defensive fashion. They no longer need to push forward. It's Corrupted G. Went for something a little bit fancy there. Sad Junior can go for the double touch. Will he get there? No, Matt beats him out to it and now goes for a double touch of his own, but Lefmir gives him a taste of his own medicine, takes that ball away early on. You can see here, Denial just wanting to keep this ball in their opponent's end, leaving someone back in the net as well, but Matt is now through by himself, goes for the double touch, and we have got ourselves a real match carpet!
Where did Matt get his final touch from? We saw the first jump, and I think he managed a diagonal flip just last second. There it is, he side flipped it just past Sad Jr., who waited a bit too long to make his decision, but in his defense, in a 1v1 situation, you have to wait until you see your opponent make his choice, and Matt tricked him, man. He's like, you think I made that choice? Nah, there's one more coming.
And now Denial, they've got to hold on. 9 seconds remaining here. Can Atelier throw the dice one more time? Can they get themselves a 6? A demolish onto Sizz can make this more and more difficult, but Turtle's got that one up high. Matt is out of boost though. So Denial need to find the floor before this game is over, but still under pressure. Ball put up high, that's gonna hit the side of the wall. Atelier, can they do a flip side? They kept it above the wall, above the floor for so long last time. Nope, not that time around. Denial, hold on and level this series.
Denial, they just want to stay alive at this point, and you can see them really pulling it out. My only concern is they only pull it out in small spurts.
Yes.
They take a bit too long every single game to really keep those tight rotations. You'll see, you know, a lot of these teams are doing wide rotations. You're rotating back, you're getting boost, you're playing the safe card, and slowly, as the game progresses, you'll see Denials get a little bit tighter and tighter and tighter to where they're only retreating to midfield or maybe even shallower. They're staying almost fully in Atelier's half, and that's where they finally are able to build enough momentum in their favor to get these goals on them.
Yeah, and to get that style of gameplay going, you really need almost complete boost control as well. You need your opponent's boost, and you need the 2 middle boosts to keep that speed going, because not only have you got to hit the ball, you've got to immediately hit the floor, which takes time anyway, and you've got to get yourself all the way back around. That is really boost heavy. So in order to do it, it almost feels like they need to be doing it on a counter-attack, or after we've seen a lot of Atelier players pulled forward, using the majority of their boosts, still trying to get themselves back. But once that scenario does happen, Denial are ferocious.
Yeah, I mean, and if you watch the decision-making from these players, a lot of times, if they're retreating and they lose a boost to their opponents, like let's say I'm on offense and I want to steal boost and I watch my opponent grab the boost in the corner, I'm done. Yes. I just drop all the way back because now I know that one of them has full potential and is a full threat to my goal, and I'm running low. So now I have to drop to midfield, maybe even further to play it safe, and that's when you get a lot of that cross-field happening back and forth.
Yeah, that's the reason why we're always so impressed by those styles of rotations, because it's so hard to get the decision-making just right. Sad Junior puts that one down. Lefmir almost gave Denial an early lead after they took that previous game. Now Sizz has got an opportunity of his own. Corrupted G gets it over to the corner. That is a safe zone for his team, or at least it usually would be. Atelier very aggressive there. They've now forced themselves to get back. Corrupted G puts that shot onto target, and Atelier are going to be forced 1-0 down in this match.
Atelier very aggressive indeed. No one stayed back, so look at how Turtle had to contest that. He had to contest it from the side, and it was an incredibly weak touch. And on top of it, I think Matt also went for the same save as well, leaving it wide open for Denial, just taking advantage of a mistake.
And let's not forget, Atelier, they are not confirmed for regionals just yet. A win here would confirm them, but they've still got work to do. Sizz puts that one onto target, save there from Lefmir at the very last second. As Matt and the rest of Atelier, they are now going to try and do their own siege rotation. Can they trap Denial in their own half? Here's an opportunity. Sizz puts that one into the net. Him and Turtle coming out big.
This pass from Turtle off the backboard, while Clinical just right out to Sizz. Look at how close it was to getting defended. Both Lethamir and Sad Jr. coming up for that. We've seen Denial make the mistake before, and in that case, it was just a matter of speed.
Well, Atelier have got speed in buckets.
Buckets of speed.
Buckets of speed. That's something that can come out during some sort of beach party. It's Denial trying to find their way. Team play coming out here. Sad Jr. He's managed to find his way through as Sizz gets the save. We are all tied up here. 4 minutes remaining, and Sit's going to try and rush this one down. He actually managed to get a block onto that, but I don't think there is much Atelier can do with that ball. Sit's going to turn himself around. He's now racing at Sad Jr. Left brings himself out. Sit tries to take on 2. He's actually managed to bring 2 players out of that net. But Turtle, too much time taken on the dribble, and they cannot capitalize.
The idea to slow it down. Oh, will that go in? Leathermere, he couldn't
hit the ball! Oh my goodness.
He read this save instead of the ball. Oh, that is such an unfortunate situation. Corrupted G now, will he follow through?
Finally!
Oh, Denial must be so happy to see that finally go in.
We say it together, Carpet, because they've hit the crossbar, they've hit the post, and finally, Denial hit the target. 3 minutes and 15 seconds remaining, plenty of game time left to go. But Atelier look like they're on their back foot right now, as they struggle to deal with a much more aggressive Denial squad. Ziz clears that one over to the side. That's going to be available for Matt to go up to. They're just pushing it into the corner where he knows Ziz is. And right now, I'm slightly worried about these rotations from Atelier. It looks like they commit 3 players forward, which is perfectly fine, but they're not doing it at the right time. They might be doing it a bit too early, leaving themselves open to counterattacks.
You probably want to take a few midfield shots, watch their defensive rotations, waver a bit, find that opportunity when somebody doesn't snag a boost or when you're able to steal it, and then you put all 3 up.
Cleared over. Atelier looking for the follow-up. There's no one on the goal line, actually, in that long shot. If on target, could have been a real pain. Now using the sidewall, Matt has to get contact onto that, as Corrupted G was around and lurking like a shark. Ball played up high, Corrupted G, over to Lefmere. Matt trying to challenge this one early and he's managed to win it. Crucial there for the Atelier side, as Lefmere has actually missed it. Ball up high, Sis can get a dunk onto it. It's going to go all the way. Nova Sad Jr. there just in time, and Lefmere attempts the clearance, but Matt looks for Turtle, who can't get there in time. A lack of boost for Turtle is going to mean no shot comes in from him. But it's now Atelier's turn. Siege offense from them. What can they do with this? Block there from Lefmere, crucial. Can he take it the entire way? Lefmere has now managed to pull this offense apart by himself, and he gets a goal to congratulate him for it.
Shogun, just as you said, all 3 of them up, and with a beautiful contest from Leathermere, and they weren't even stealing boost. You have to understand what kind of risk you're taking. They still had almost 2 minutes left and only 1 goal down. That's more than enough time to watch your opponents make a mistake and capitalize.
Yeah, it almost seems like a panic now from Atelier, with no real reason to panic either. Ball played over to the corner. Sizz going to try and chase this down, but Corrupted G should be the first of that. Turtle looking now for Sizz. Puts that one straight down. Turtle now with the follow-up. Great 1-2 play there, but Lefmere once again, the MVP of this matchup.
Really showcasing their skill. Atelier and their midfield passing plays are phenomenal, but right now Denial is always prepared for it. You see 2, maybe 3 people in net. They even get 2 saves in a row, and what is this?
Connect is exactly what that was right there. Magnetically stuck together. Denial now try and put that onto the other end. The coast-to-coast goal does not come out. But as crazy as that was, the important thing there is time was wasted throughout that. Atelier, they are already trailing in this matchup, and they have got 47 seconds remaining here. They were in this position last game. They weren't able to do it.
This almost feels like they're caving under pressure as we've seen them showcase their skill. Oh, Matt could have had that, but the angle was a bit too tight. And now Sad Jr. in net. Denial. Their defensive rotations are just clean.
And this has been so much better from them. Their rotations, as you just mentioned, on point right now in these passing plays. So much cleaner, so much smarter than we've seen from them all season. Lovely back pass to Sad Jr., who's going to try and go the entire way. I don't really know what that was, so I'm not going to call it. But Denial still in the lead, 10 seconds remaining. And this is starting to get a little bit nervy now. Shot from a Turtle, though. Can they get it off the kickoff? That is now the question.
They've at least made it possible with 4 seconds left. Can they keep the ball up enough? And this is the passing plays. But look at when they did it this time, Shogun. They waited until Denial was on the retreat. Not when they're sitting in net waiting for it. And then that's when you find the holes to score into.
So hard to score on a team that is already on defense. That's going to be really difficult now. They can't afford to let the ball touch the floor, but it has. And Denial despite losing that first game, find themselves 2 games to 1 up.
I can't tell who's feeling more pressure right now, Atelier or Genesis.
Oh, I mean, Genesis, they still have their future in their own hands. We will see them later on when they take on G2.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the future is in your hands. G2 can be a little bit inconsistent, but right now is the important thing. And Denial, despite losing that previous game to Genesis, looking strong right now to one of the teams that I pegged to be 3rd, maybe 4th in this league.
Yeah, Atelier really seemed to be just making some interesting decisions. Their mechanical skills pretty well executed. We've seen some phenomenal plays from them all day. But in this kind of situation, when are you making those plays? We saw when they finally did it. With 4 seconds left, Denial was on the retreat, and they were able to catch them off guard. But when they try those passing plays and dedicate that many players to an offensive opportunity when all 3 Denial players are just sitting and waiting, they're good enough for this. We know they've struggled all season, and Denial is in a tight spot right now. If they lose this, they're done for. This could be their last RLCS showing for this season.
Yeah.
But that also means that they're going to want to win.
Certainly does.
More than anyone.
I feel like the story right now, viewers, if you're watching at home, would really be watch Denial's defense. Can they continue to resist Atelier? Because they are catching Atelier so often on the backwards rotation, position where they've got to try and just go for any sort of clearance and save that they can. They have got no time to try and really get themselves ready for it. So if that continues to happen and Atelier can't get these passing plays together, that's going to get more and more dangerous from them. They're going to get caught more and more on the counterattack.
Yeah. I mean, as long as Atelier is in their half, essentially. So as long as Atelier is in Denial's half, Denial's just, they're just sitting on it. They're just taking their time. They're trying to make sure they snag boost so they don't get starved too much. And Atelier keeps pushing and pushing and pushing until they finally get a hard clear. Honestly, a lot of the goals last game seem to be on Atelier being, you know, overcommitted, as opposed to Denial actually outplaying them on offense. And then it's just a situation of like, well, eventually it's just going to go in. But if Atelier can kind of sit back, widen out their rotations, let Denial try and clear it, beat them in a contest, beat them in a 50-50, pull one of those players out, force them to miss an opportunity. As we saw, some of their offensive choices aren't that great. Denial Sad Junior in that 1v2 decided to still try and dribble it.
Yeah. It's a case right now where neither team is performing optimally, but Denial is playing much better than we've seen from them the entire season. This is much more of what we expected from them when they came in. I mean, remember, Denial came into the season as potentially the number 4 seed, I believe, was in our heads right then. But right now, the duo from Atelier, we're seeing nothing from them. Turtle and Matt not coming together at all, really. It's been more of a Sizz Matt sort of show, or Sizz Turtle.
Sizz Turtle. So, I mean, I've been a huge advocate of the Matt and Sizz combo. I mean, these guys, when you really think about it, like, look at how many hours you have in Rocket League. And I promise you, these two guys not only have more than you, but more than you just playing together. I mean, they have probably 1,000+ hours literally just playing as a doubles duo, which is insane. They know how each other play immediately. And Turtle, as Lawler had mentioned on the desk, is very self-aware of the field. So when you put a self-aware player with a pair that knows what they're doing, you end up getting a really good combo of team.
Yeah, and it's something we've seen more and more often throughout this season in terms of we're seeing a lot more of duos coming out into the league. Duos with like an anchor of sorts on their team, making sure that the rotation is filled, making sure that no mistakes are being made, and only really coming in when they know they can come in and score. Is there a reason for that, or is that just more of a safety measure for most teams?
I mean, it's hard to say. Obviously, the meta of Rocket League has slowly shifted. When you look at the old Gibbs days, you know, since he likes to humble brag about how good he used to be, there used to be a legitimate goalie. Like, you told someone to just sit in net and make hard clears.
Yeah.
And then he'd be the guy that maybe takes the far shots as well. But that's all Gibbs' job was. That's all. And then we kind of got to the whole everyone has the same job thing, right?
Yeah.
And now it seems like we're going to take 2 people that are really, really good and one guy who can adapt really well, see how that goes. And that seems to be right now the flow that's going on a lot of Rocket League rosters.
Yeah, it's a case of, I think Gibbs just sort of ruined the entire meta for like the start of the game, because we came in from Start BC and it was a case of we only played 2s. The servers weren't good enough to play 3s on, so we never really practiced that at all. So we didn't know what really to do with that third player. So what's the safest thing you can do? Shove him in the net. Unfortunately, Gibbs was really good at that. So he kind of made everyone look and just go, ooh, that's maybe the best way to play. Instead, no, we've seen them move on. We're now in this rotation style of play. But it's now back into the middle of those. We're now in the middle between rotation style of play and committed, not defender, but kind of janitor style. It's like, get rid of the mistakes.
You
Sweep
can
them
almost
away.
call it like zone. You kind of have a role, right? And don't worry, guys. We're just as excited to see the next game,
Yes.
but we're making sure we get the lobby set up.
We
have
don't love our
connection
voices
issue there.
that much. Well,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, I mean, I love my voice.
I mean, I love my voice as
Yeah,
well.
so this is actually the worst pair to have up to talk a bunch. But in general, you know, everyone kind of has a role now as opposed to just we're all the same person. I don't want to say everybody. Some teams still kind of do the whole we just all do whatever.
Yeah.
But you look at a lot of teams, especially on the European side, a lot of pairs. You know, you look at Northern Gaming, Remco Maestro, they have a third. You look at Gale Force, Violent Panda Pashi, then they have a third that kind of fits in. And you see it on North American side as well.
You're really right on that one as well, aren't you?
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Yeah. I mean, wow. That is, that's pretty impressive there. I mean, even on Mucket, we're looking at, like, Fairy Mystic.
Yeah.
I mean, not Fairy Mystic, Fairy K-Dop. And K-Dop's had a heck of a season for himself
Yeah.
so far.
But don't worry, Europe's tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're going to get into the game.
We are finally going to get into the game.
Yeah.
This has been the Shogun Carpet podcast. Only the second ever edition of that, I do believe, we've ever had. The last one was about a year ago. But yeah, we are going to get ourselves into this matchup. Maybe not.
Not yet.
Right, so we're done from the commercial break. Welcome back to the Shogun and Carpet podcast featuring
guys.
Shogun and Carpet.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome, everyone. You know, we're in for the long haul. Our podcast is set for about an hour, so don't worry, guys. We'll get back to the game in about 60 minutes.
Yeah.
I know you're so excited to hear us talk more about some nonsense. But anyway, no, talking about metas, right? So we started with a goalie, and then once we stopped playing goalie, Gibbs was out of a job because that's really all he could do.
We found
So
we
we're
gave him a new one.
Sorry.
He's not on the street.
But actually, you know, to give him a little bit of credit, he kind of knew, right? I've talked to him about it. He's like, the moment that I can't be goalie, I'm done playing Rocket League.
Yeah.
He just knew. He's like, this is what I'm really good at, and this is what I can do. And then, we kind of went to that just super hyper-aggressive thing, and the teams that got rotations down first destroyed everyone.
Flip side, basically.
Yeah, they just wrecked everyone they could, and then finally people started to realize, what if we just, like, sit on defense on purpose and then let these guys just do everything they can and just try their hardest to score on us? Eventually they'll make a mistake. We'll get more boost in them, and then we'll capitalize. So that's why these roles kind of come into place. I mean, you look at Fireburner.
Yes.
Fireburner's got a role. He is the grounded player. You look at Pluto as well, a very grounded player. Turtle, right now on Atelier. Denial, it hasn't been as apparent, but I think it's just because as a whole, the whole team's been a bit quiet. They've been struggling all season.
Yeah, it really is a case of, like, Denial, I feel like finally sorted it out, though. I think they've changed Sad Jr.'s role. We're seeing it a lot today. Sad Jr. usually spends a lot of time downfield.
Yeah.
Because it used to work. He used to be able to do that on pretty much every other team he was on. It's not working anymore. You don't get that space at all. However, since we are currently struggling to get ourselves into this matchup, we are going to go and talk about our lovely friend Gibbs over on the desk.
Yeah, we're gonna hang out a little bit over here as we get that match up and running. Axel toss back here at the desk with Gibbs and Lawler. Denial currently up 2-1. We were just talking a little bit about, Denial wins. What is gonna happen? We're gonna have to get calculators out.
It's more madness, and that's exactly what Selfless wants. They need a Denial win, so they'll have 2 coin tosses, right? But I just want to keep in mind, when there's a lot of talk and you start roasting me, Kronovi and Golden Boy both roasted me at the first land pretty hard.
Yep.
I didn't see either of them in Amsterdam, so just keep that in mind, Carpet and Shogun. Just letting you know.
I gotta let that one stay in the air for a little bit. Wow, nice one. Let's do a Twitter question. Of course, if you have a question, tweet at us with the hashtag RLCS and make sure it's a good question, or we're not gonna ask it. You're not gonna see it. We have one from Eat Beans 96. He asks, question for the hashtag RLCS crew. Is mechanical skill or strong decision making more important in Rocket League?
That's a tough one. It's hand in hand, basically. You have to have both. Personally, when I played, it was more about decision making. My mechanical play was garbage. It still is. In threes, it is a lot more about decision making than maybe 2s and 1s, because 2s and 1s is way more mechanical because you have a lot more time to play with the ball. In threes, you have to get rid of it quick and have to focus more on passing, stuff like that. So it is maybe slightly more decision making, but you need mechanical play.
Yeah, you need both. That's no doubt about it. But I think it's more decision making, positioning and stuff like you stated. You don't have as much time to make those mechanical plays, the dribbles, the flicks, whatever you want to do to get past your defender. Ideally, you're looking for being in the right spot and giving it to your teammate, because the ball's going to go faster that way. If you can pass it off your teammates, you can give it to your teammates to make other plays. That then allows you to then reposition defensively or offensively, and then make a play off of that. So ideally, yeah, I think it's more defensive, but you still got to be able to make those touches.
Yeah.
Can't do that without the mechanics.
Especially, I feel like when improving in Rocket League, especially if you compare the lower ranks to the higher ranks, as far as what do you want to prioritize more. And I feel like if you're struggling in Rocket League, you're trying to get better, if you work on your decision making, especially like placement on the field, I feel like there's so many times where a ball can just be gifted, and if you're in the right place at the right time, you can just get an automatic goal. So I think if you focus on decision making as a player who's trying to get better, that can be really important versus devoting everything to mechanical skill.
It's basically building a base. Like you want that like decision-making base, and then once your mechanical play gets better and better, your decisions will slightly change based on what you can do with the ball. But it's still good to have that base of decision-making first, because I've seen a lot of players where they'll just go up for wall dribbles like every single time, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, all right, this is an easy play for me. Like, you are way better than me, but I just have to wait until you're done with this fancy play and then just score. So you have to have that base first.
I mean, you want to talk about a team that did it perfectly. Talk about the Flying Dutchman. Season 1, the team was focused and had like an actual structure built on their defensive rotations and what they were going to do. There was an article that came about it that was written by Vogan. And they talked about how, and we all noticed, they weren't the best mechanical team. They didn't have that raw set of skills, but positioning was pretty solid and they followed each other up, and it brought them all the way to LAN.
And plus, they had 0 comms for that first LAN. And also, it was the first LAN. Everyone's really nervous. The first thing that drops is your mechanical play.
Let me look at Iris. I mean, Iris wasn't able to make it because they got beat by just defense and counterattacks. Very textbook Rocket League.
But once again, it's about that mechanical play is the first thing to go when you start getting nervous. And decision making, that can falter too, but I feel like as long as you have that base, then you have a much better chance. And Flying Dutchman showed it. They came in 4th at the first LAN, so that's where you want to start.
Cool. Thanks for your question, EatBeans96. Again, we're taking questions on Twitter. Use the hashtag RLCS. That being said, we're not too far away from getting back into this next match. Denial's up 2-1 against Atelier. And to refocus on that, what do you guys want to see from Atelier? Obviously, they're down 2-1. They have some things to figure out. Is it more on them to change something up to make the series go back in their direction?
I think if they can increase the speed of the game in general, they're much faster players in the overall scheme of things. So if they can increase the speed and not make mistakes on defense that they have been showing, like Sizz went for a ball where he went for a challenge, it pinched off left and just went right into the goal. And if Sizz just drove back, he would have been fine because left had no boost. So they just got to be careful with their rotations. And Denial is just playing safe. They're just going for the rotational play, and pretty much Atelier has to do the same, but just pick up the speed. And as long as they pick up the speed, then they have a better chance.
Well, we saw what Denial did against Genesis. As soon as that speed of that game slowed down, it really favors that team that's defensive. It allows them to get into position and kind of like pack the box, and then they just move up as a unit. And Corrupted G, all alone, like Corrupted G has been playing amazing. Like we were talking about that during the games. Like he's doubled his goals or something like that.
Yeah, he had 8 goals in 5 series. In the first series alone, he had 7 goals, and then he's scored in every single game so far. So he's had some weak touches here or there. That there was a goal that got where he hit it really soft to Genesis, and they got the counter goal. But he's scoring most of the goals right now, and if he can continue that trend where he's just waiting for those passes from Sad and left, and as long as they have one finisher, that's all they need. But it's still too close to call right now. It's 2-1, and Atelier hasn't looked terrible. It's been really close games. So we can see this going 5 once again.
Well, I mean, that's a trend in RLCS. Anything can literally happen. Now, again, we know all the playoff implications here. If Denial wins, it shakes everything up, and we're going to have a lot more analysis to do. Atelier, if they win, it becomes a little bit more simple from an implications perspective. Are you guys changing your picks at all based on what you've seen so far? I know we all picked Atelier. Is Denial going to close this out, or can Atelier figure something out to bring it back?
I feel like I'm cheating, but I think Denial will take the series. One, because it's NA and they just want madness, and it seems like it's going that way. But they're up 2-1, and they haven't, it hasn't been fluky. It has been just very sound play, and I think they can continue it. But it's going to be hard for both these teams, because now it's a long break between games. That hurts Denial a bit, because Atelier can start feeling better about themselves, and that momentum really hurt.
I mean, I think that's it for me. This break is definitely favoring Atelier, and it's unfortunate that it's happening as on Denial's side, but like you said, if they speed up the play, good to go.
All right, let's get into it. It's Atelier versus Denial as the RLCS continues. The next game is ready to go. Let's go back over to the commentary desk with Shogun and Final Carpet.
Right, well, I think we're both pretty much ready to get into this one.
I think our podcast is better.
To be fair, yeah. Who needs Rocket Talk these days?
I know,
It's just
right?
me and you, baby. Just me and you. But yeah, we are still in this matchup. Denial 2-1 up in a series that they must win to keep their regional playoff chances alive. Atelier, if they can win this one, they will clinch. Clinch? There's been arguments around that one
Apparently,
during
yeah.
this week. There has.
Yeah.
But I'm on the clinch squad.
I mean, technically the real word is clinch, but
Yes.
apparently I was informed that I kept saying clench. So
Oh.
I'm thinking like, you clenched it, with your fist. Like, oh, you just got it. You reached out. You clenched your victory. But,
Yeah.
Well,
I prefer the Rocket League part of our podcast, to be completely honest with you.
That's true.
We're not very good at the Rocket League is our lives at the end of the day,
Yeah.
so that's all we're really good at talking
and
about.
speaking words is not. But remember, if Denial lose this series, this will be the last time we see them here in Season 3.
Yep.
Atelier really just want to clinch top 6.
Yes.
Their chances at the top 2, I don't even know if it's even possible, but that's Gibbs' job to tell, not mine, because he's the god of all knowing, apparently.
Yep.
But in general, both of the teams feeling the stress, and then on top of it, a third team, which no one can see right now, Genesis,
Yep.
is watching, and I don't think they've ever rooted for a team right now as hard as they're rooting for Atelier.
Yep, certainly are. So, TLDR for you. Genesis, they go through if Denial end up losing this matchup. Atelier still not qualified for either top 2 or top 6, so they need to win this matchup as well. And Denial, if they lose this, they are out. And if they win it, then Genesis have got all the pressure on them when they take on G2 later on. So, I think that's everyone pretty much caught up.
And of all the times for Denial to show up, I guess we shouldn't be surprised it's now when the pressure is seriously on the final week of league play. Denial decides, we'll start doing some stuff. And what's really interesting when watching them is there's really no apparent cohesion that's going on that makes me feel like, wow, these guys are really playing well together. They're making the right decisions, and they're just forcing the other team to make poor choices.
Yes.
They're letting them just aggress. They're staying on defense. They're like, you know what, we're just going to sit here. We're cool. We're going to make sure we snag enough boost to play defense. You're just going to keep taking shots out of frustration and out of anticipation of us messing up. We're not going to mess up. And the moment you do, we're just going to score.
And the Denial offense has been pretty textbook, really. Nothing special about it. It's very much the simple out-rotate, hit the ball off the wall, and use speed.
Yeah.
Just constantly be faster. Basically the EU mentality of be fast at everything, you will probably win. And it just pulls players out. Every single time you commit and you don't reach the ball, that takes you out of the game for about 10 seconds or so, unless you can land on the ball or on the floor correctly. So it's a smart way of playing around the game. Much better than what we've seen from them leading up to this point, which was the Sad Junior downfield. He doesn't really see any of the game at all. We're basically in a 2v3 sort of match.
And he hands down has probably some of the best highlights to ever come out of Rocket League.
Yeah.
And which is why we're surprised to see him so quiet all season. But if you want to know what identifies a good defense, take a look at where the defender is going to place the ball. A lot of times, out of habit, you're like, I'm just going to hit it really hard and clear it. But then what does that do? If you don't have anyone at your midfield to pass it to, you're just letting them clear it right back into you, right? Which right now Denial's kind of doing on purpose.
Yeah.
But really good defense. They'll place it to the corner. They'll keep themselves in contention with the ball. They'll make sure they're right behind it. They won't let it center out in front. They won't let it come off their back wall unanswered. All those key things go into a tight defense, which Denial's doing really well.
And that's all stuff you've got to remember whilst you're playing against the best teams in the world.
Yep.
That is not easy at all. I mean, I feel like we've both tried it. We've both played in tournaments at higher level. We've actually managed to play against some of these teams.
Yep.
It's difficult. It really is. Like, the corner is at least a slight safe zone, but still it's in your half. The only safe zone is the other end of the pitch.
Yeah.
But getting it down there, and you see it when you see teams like Northern Gaming play.
Oh, yeah.
When that rotation is on, you don't get it into their end of the pitch. You are constantly under